A very interesting story today, kids, and the title is Split Cherry Tree. I don't mind staying after school, I said to Professor Herbert, but it would be better if you would whip me and let me go home early. Pa will whip me anyway for getting home 2 hours late. You are too big to whip, said Professor Herbert, and I have to punish you for climbing up in that cherry tree. You boys knew better than that. The other 5 boys have paid their $1 each. You have been the only one who has not paid his part for the tree. Can't you borrow $1? I can't, I said. I will have to take the punishment. I wish it would be a quicker punishment. I would not mind. Imagine, बच्चा क्या कह रहा है? मेरी पिटाई कर लो, मगर मैं $1 नहीं दे सकता। प्रॉब्लम क्या हुई थी कि इस बच्चे ने और 5 अलग अलग बच्चों ने मिलकर के शायद कोई एक चेरी ट्री को हार्म किया था या इनकी वजह से वो ट्री टूट गया था। मगर टीचर ने क्या बोला? मारना तो कोई पनिशमेंट नहीं है, तो रुकना ही पड़ेगा। Professor Herbert stood and looked at me. You don't know my father, I said. He might be called a little old-fashioned. He believes, if you spare the rod, you spoil the child. I will never be able to make him understand about the cherry tree. I am the first of my people to go to high school. बच्चा फिर भी क्या कोशिश कर रहा है? आप मेरे पापा को नहीं जानते। उनका क्या मानना है? पिटाई से बच्चे सुधरते हैं। Anyways, this boy was the first from his family to actually attend a high school. You must take the punishment, said Professor Herbert. You must stay 2 hours after school today and 2 hours after school tomorrow. I am allowing you 25 cents an hour. That is good money for a high school student. You can sweep the school floor, wash the blackboards and clean windows. I will pay the $1 for you. I couldn't ask Professor Herbert to loan me $1. I had to stay and help the janitor and work out my fine at a quarter an hour. Janitor मतलब जो स्कूल की सफाई करते हैं. I thought as I swept the floor, what will Pa do to me? What lie can I tell him when I go home? Why did we ever climb that cherry tree and break it down anyway? पर वो कहते हैं ना, अब पछताए होत क्या जब चिड़िया चुग गई खेत। अब जब गलती कर ही दी है तो पनिशमेंट तो फेस करनी ही पड़ेगी। It was 6 o'clock when I left the schoolhouse. I had 6 miles to walk home. It was well after 7 when I got home. I had all my work to do when I got home. It took Pa and I both to do the work. 7 cows to milk, 19 heads of cattle to feed, 4 mules, 25 hogs to look after, firewood to cut and water to draw from the well. He would be doing it when I got home. He would be mad and wondering what was keeping me. I hurried home. I would walk fast uphill. I would run down the hill. I had to hurry. I had to run. I threw down my books and didn't take time to change my clean school clothes for my old work clothes. I ran out to the barn. I saw Pa spreading fodder on the ground to the cattle. That was my job. I ran up and said, "Leave that for me, Pa. I will do it. I'm just a little late." "I see you are," said Pa. He turned and looked at me. His eyes danced fire. "What in the world has kept you so? Why weren't you here in time to help me with this work? Make a gentleman out of one boy in the family and this is what you get. I send you to high school for this?" पापा का गुस्सा भी तो जायज़ था कि स्कूल भेज रहे हैं, लेकिन उसका मतलब ये तो नहीं कि काम घर के ना करो। I never said anything. I didn't want to tell why I was late from school. डर रहा था कि पिताजी से तो मार पड़ेगी ही। Pa stopped scattering the bundles of fodder. He looked at me. I said, I had to stay after school. I could not lie to Pa. He would go to school and find out why I had to stay. If I lied to him, it would be too bad for me. Why did you have to stay after school? Said Pa. I said, our biology class went on a field trip today. 6 of us boys broke down a cherry tree. We had to give $1 apiece to pay for the tree. I didn't have the dollar. Professor Herbert is making me work for my dollar. He gives me 25 cents an hour. I had to stay this afternoon. I will have to stay in tomorrow afternoon too. Are you telling me the truth? Said Pa. I am telling you the truth. I said, go and see for yourself. That's just what I will do in the morning, said Pa. Just whose cherry tree did you break down? Antony's. What were you doing there? His farm is so far from school, said Pa. Don't they teach you any books at that high school? Do they just let you get out and go over the hillsides? If that's all they do, I will keep you at home, Dave. I have got work here for you to do. Pa, I said, spring is just getting here. We take a subject in school where we have to study bugs, snakes, flowers, lizards, frogs and plants. It is biology. It was a practical day today. We went out to find a few of these. 6 of us boys saw a lizard at the same time sunning on a cherry tree. We all went up to the tree to get it. We broke the tree down. Anthony was plowing down below us. He ran up the hill and got our names. The other boys gave their dollars apiece. I didn't have mine. Professor Herbert put mine in for me. I have to work it out at school for that. Poor man's son, huh? Said Pa. I will attend to that myself in the morning. I will take care of him. What kind of a school is it? Pa, please don't go down there, I said. Just let me have 50 cents and pay the rest of my fine. I don't want you to go down there. I don't want you to start anything with Professor Herbert. थोड़ा डर गया था. Ashamed of your old Pa, are you, Dave? Said Pa. I am trying to send you to school so you can make a better living than I have made. I will straighten this thing out myself. I will take care of Professor Herbert myself. He got no right to keep you in and let the other boys off just because they have got the money. I am a poor man. A bullet will go in a professor same as it will any man. It will go in a rich man same as it will a poor man. Now you get on with this work. क्या कहा फादर ने? भाई ये गोली रिच हो या अमीर दोनों को एक ही तरीके से मारेगी और सिर्फ इसलिए कि तुम पुअर हो उसका मतलब ये नहीं कि आप स्कूल का काम करोगे. I thought I could not go back to school with him. He would carry a gun and maybe he would shoot Professor Herbert. It was hard to tell what he would do. I could tell Pa that school had changed in the hills from the way it was when he was a boy. But he would not understand. I could tell him we studied frogs, birds, snakes, lizards, flowers, insects. But Pa would not understand. He would see Professor Herbert anyway. I would just have to finish my work now and go to school with Pa the next morning. Dave काफ़ी अंदर से डरा हुआ था कि उसके फादर आखिर करेंगे क्या और वो जानता था कि वो अपने फादर को समझा नहीं सकता कि उनके टाइम से आज के टाइम में स्कूल काफ़ी चेंज हो चुके हैं. After I finished doing my work, I went to the house and ate my supper. Pa and Mom had already eaten. My supper was getting cold. I heard Pa and Mom talking in the front room. Pa was telling Mom about me. Now, Luster, said Mom, you just stay away from the school. Don't cause a lot of trouble. You can be jailed for a trick like that. You will get the law after you. I ate my supper. I slipped upstairs and lit the lamp. I tried to forget the whole thing. I did my homework but could not concentrate well. My thoughts concentrated on Pa. He will go to school with me in the morning. He will take a gun for Professor Herbert. What will Professor Herbert think of me? But Pa might shoot him. Maybe he will cool off about it tonight and not go in the morning. उम्मीद तो थी कि शायद सुबह तक पापा भूल जाए और आए ही ना स्कूल. Pa got up at 4 o'clock, finished his work and got ready well in time to go with me. He had not forgotten. We were going early. I was glad we were going early. If Pa pulled a gun on Professor Herbert, there would not be so many of my classmates to see him. I knew that Pa would not be at home in the high school. He wore overalls, big boots, a blue shirt and a sheepskin coat and a slouched black hat at the top. He put his gun in its holster. जहाँ पे गन रखते हैं उसको holster कहते हैं. We started trudging towards the high school across the hill. It was early when we got to the county high school. Professor Herbert had just got there. You are the professor here, aren't you? Said Pa. Yes, said Professor Herbert, and you are Dave's father. Yes, said Pa, pulling out his gun and laying it on the seat in Professor Herbert's office. Imagine, school में प्रोफेसर हर्बर्ट के ऑफिस में सबसे पहले तो अपनी गन निकाल के सामने रख दी. प्रोफेसर हर्बर्ट्स आईज गॉट बिग बिहाइंड हिज ब्लैक रिम्ड ग्लासेस व्हेन ही सॉ पा's गन. कलर केम इनटू हिज पेल चीक्स. किसी को भी डर लगेगा भाई. Just a few things about this school I want to know, said Pa. I am trying to make a scholar out of Dave. He is the only one in my family I have sent to high school. Here he comes in late and leaves me all the work to do. He said you were all out bug hunting yesterday and broke a cherry tree down. He had to stay 2 hours after school yesterday and work out money to pay on that cherry tree. Is that right? Why, said Professor Herbert, I guess it is. He looked at Pa's gun. Well, said Pa, this isn't high school, it's a bug school, a lizard school, a snake school. It isn't school anyhow. Why did you bring that gun? Said Professor Herbert to Pa. You see that little hole? Said Pa as he picked up the gun and put his finger on the end of the barrel. A bullet can come out of that hole that will kill a school teacher same as it will any other man. It will kill a rich man same as a poor man. But after I came in and saw you, I knew I would not need it. देखिए कैसे गन दिखा रहे हैं प्रोफेसर को. Pa stood there, big, hard, brown-skinned and mighty, beside of Professor Herbert. I didn't know Pa was so much bigger and harder. I had never seen Pa in the school before. I had seen Professor Herbert. He had always looked big to me. He didn't look big standing beside Pa. I was only doing my duty, said Professor Herbert, and following the course of study the government provided us with. Course of study, said Pa. What study? Bug study? Students were coming into the school now. Professor Herbert said, close the door, Dave, so others won't hear. I walked over and closed the door. I was shaking like a leaf in the wind. I thought Pa was going to hit Professor Herbert any minute. He was doing all the talking. He was getting red. I was right with these students, said Professor Herbert. I know what they got into and what they didn't. I went with them myself. What else could I have done with Dave? Said Professor Herbert. The boys didn't have any business all climbing that cherry tree after one lizard. One boy could have gone up in the tree and got it. The farmer charged us $6. It was a little steep, I think, but we had to pay it. Must I make 5 boys pay and let your boy off? He said he didn't have the dollar and couldn't get it. So I put it in front of him. I am letting him work it out. He is not working for me. He is working for the school. I just don't know what you could have done with him, said Pa. Only slapped him or whipped him. That's what he needed. We don't believe in physical punishment, said Professor Herbert. We have to study all these creatures. Pa picked up his gun and put it back in its holster. The red color left Professor Herbert's face. He talked more to Pa. Pa softened a little. It looked funny to see Pa in the high school building. You have heard of germs, Mr. Sexton, haven't you? Said Professor Herbert. Just call me Luster, if you don't mind, said Pa casually. मतलब अब प्रोफेसर की तरफ से थोड़ा डर खत्म था और फादर की तरफ से थोड़ा गुस्सा कम था. All right, Luster, you have heard of germs, haven't you? Yes, said Pa, but I don't believe in germs. I am 65 years old and I haven't seen one yet. You can't see them with your naked eye, said Professor Herbert. Just keep that gun in the holster and stay with me in the high school today. I have a few things to show you. That scum on your teeth has germs in it. What? Said Pa. You mean to tell me that I have got germs on my teeth? Yes, said Professor Herbert. The same kind we might be able to find in a living black snake if we dissect it. I don't mean to dispute your word, said Pa, but I don't believe it. I don't believe I have germs on my teeth. Stay with me today and I will show you. I want to take you through the school anyway. School has changed a lot in the hills since you went to school. I don't guess we had high schools in this county when you went to school? No, said Pa. Just reading and writing. We didn't have all this bug learning, frog learning, and finding germs on your teeth and in the black snakes. The world is changing. It is, said Professor Herbert. He is your boy. He knows all of what I have told you. You stay with me today. I'll sure stay with you, said Pa. I want to see the germs of my teeth. I just want to see a germ. I have never seen one in my life. Seeing is believing. ये तो बात सही है ना, जो चीज़ देखी नहीं उस पे यकीन कैसे करें? The professor took him around the school the whole forenoon. At noon, in the cafeteria, Pa and Professor Herbert sat together at the little table. They ate together. The students watched the way Pa ate. He ate with his knife instead of his fork. A lot of the students felt sorry for me after they found out he was my father. I was not ashamed of Pa after I found out he wasn't going to shoot Professor Herbert. I was glad they had made friends. In the afternoon, when we went to biology class, Pa was there. He was sitting on one of the highest stools beside the microscope. We went ahead with our work just as if Pa wasn't in the class. I saw Pa take his knife and scrape tartar from one of his teeth. वो जो yellow plaque type लगता है ना, that. Professor Herbert put it on the lens and adjusted the microscope for Pa. He adjusted it and worked a while. Then he said, "Now, Luster, look. Put your eye right down to the light, squint the other eye." मतलब एक आंख से देखो और दूसरी को बंद करो. Pa put his head down and did as Professor Herbert had said. "I see them," said Pa. "Whoever thought of that? Right on a body's teeth? Right in a body's mouth?" Professor Herbert. कितने हैरान हुए थे फादर वो जर्म्स देख के कि एक इंसान की बॉडी में, एक इंसान के दांत में इतने जर्म्स हैं. "Yes, Luster," said Professor Herbert. "It's there. That's the germs. Germs live in a world we cannot see with the naked eye. We must use the microscope to see them. There are millions of them in our bodies. Some are harmful, others are helpful." ये तो शायद हमने साइंस में भी पढ़ा है ना. हमारी बॉडी में अलग अलग किस्म के जर्म्स हैं, कुछ हेल्पफुल, कुछ हार्मफुल. Pa held his face down and looked through the microscope. We have a big black snake over here we caught yesterday, said Professor Herbert. We will chloroform him and dissect him and show you he has germs in his body too. Don't do it, says Pa. I believe you. I just don't want to see you kill the black snake. I never kill one. They are good mousers and a lot of help to us on the farm. I like black snakes. I just hate to see people kill them. I don't allow them to be killed on my place. Mouser माने ये black snakes farm में क्या करते हैं? चूहों को खाते हैं. चूहे जो फसल खराब करते हैं. तो पा ने कहा कि उन्हें नहीं अच्छा लगता कि कोई भी ब्लैक स्नेक्स को मारे. The students looked at Pa. They seemed to like him better after he said that. Pa with a gun in his pocket, but a tender heart for snakes, but not for man. Pa won't whip a mule at home, he won't whip his cattle. मतलब पा के दिल में दया है, लेकिन जानवरों के लिए, इंसानों के लिए नहीं. Man can defend himself, Pa used to say, but cattle and mules can't. Professor Herbert took Pa through the laboratory. He showed him the different kinds of work we were doing. He showed him our equipment. Then they walked out together. When our biology class was over, I walked out of the room. It was our last class for the day. I would have to take my broom and sweep 2 hours to finish paying for the split cherry tree. I just wondered if Pa would want me to stay. He was standing in the hallway watching the students march out. He looked like a leaf turned brown on the tree among the treetop filled with growing leaves. वो छोटे छोटे बच्चों के बीच में थोड़े से तो अलग नज़र आ ही रहे थे. I got my broom and started to sweep. Professor Herbert walked up and said, I'm going to let you do that some other time. You can go home with your father. He is waiting out there. I laid my broom down and got my books and went down the steps. Pa said, haven't you got 2 hours of sweeping yet to do? I said, Professor Herbert said I could do it some other time. He asked me to go home with you. No, said Pa. You are going to do as he says. School has changed from my day and time, Dave. I don't belong here. If he will let me, I will get a broom and we will both sweep 1 hour. That pays your debt? I will help you pay it. I will ask him and see if he will let me help you. I am going to cancel the debt, said Professor Herbert. I just wanted you to understand, Luster. I understand, said Pa. And since I understand, he must pay his debt for the tree, and I am going to help him. Don't do that, said Professor Herbert. We don't do things like that, said Pa. We are just and honest people. We don't want anything for nothing. Professor Herbert, you are wrong now, and I am right. You will have to listen to me. I have learned a lot from you. My boy must go on. The world changed while I have raised my family and plowed the hills. I am a just and honest man. I don't skip debts. I haven't learned to do that. I haven't got much learning myself, but I do know right from wrong after I see through a thing. With this, he started to sweep. So did I. तो देखा, भले ही फादर को पहले समझ में नहीं आया कि प्रोफेसर उसके बच्चे से सफाई क्यों करवा रहे हैं, बाहर ले जाकर के बग्स और फ्रॉग्स ये चीज़ें क्यों दिखा रहे हैं, लेकिन जब समझ आया तो उन्होंने अपने बेटे की हेल्प करने के लिए आधी पनिशमेंट अपने ऊपर ले ली.